Hey guys, I'm making you this video for my intermediate to advanced students. I would love to get you guys playing some Bach this semester. So anyway, we're going to be playing the music of Johann Sebastian Bach. And fun fact, there were 76 Bachs, but the one we're usually talking about is the father, Johann Sebastian. He had some sons that were equally famous and actually more famous towards the end of his life. But we're talking about Johann or J.S. Bach. We're going to be working on some two-part inventions. So normally the music we play is pretty homophonic. We have a melody in the right hand and the left hand usually gets the shaft. The left hand usually has to do something like so that is totally the opposite of what we're going to be doing in Bach. In Bach, both hands are going to be equally important. They call this music polyphonic, multi-voices, and I love playing Bach. It's basically like your right hand is a violin and your left hand is a cello. And it's very similar to what rap and hip hop artists do when they're layering multiple things on top of each other, especially when they have multiple artists collaborating. Like you'll have a rap battle between Eminem and Lil Wayne. And when you have two artists in the same room, nobody's going to want to be the background. So both hands are going to get to be the star of the show. So where this takes place, Baroque music. Baroque is the music between, let's see, 1685 to 1750. When Bach died, that's when Baroque music died. But this appears everywhere. Rap and hip hop music, basically any symphonic music. And as pianists, we have two hands, but we basically have a symphony of 10 fingers and we can do a lot more. Let's talk about why this is important. So one thing that this will really add, number one, your left hand is going to become so much more confident and proficient. I love to say that my left hand is like Yo-Yo Ma on the cello. And number two, when you have the ability to really have full control of both of your hands at the same time, you can voice things in your music. And voicing is one of those aspects of artistry when we're not just pianists. We are able to basically orchestrate at the piano, and sometimes we're mimicking an entire orchestra or a band, and in this case, I like to think a violin and a cello. So now let's talk about the how. So this is going to fit in very well with my goal of getting you guys to use technology to be your own duet partner. So with Bach, each hand has to be proficient on its own. You're going to spend some time practicing each hand all by itself for a while. And I used to use my old little tape recorder and I would record one hand and play along with the other. You guys have so many more cool toys and tools that you can use. You probably have a keyboard that can record right on the spot. We have free apps and software. So let me show you how this works. This is the two-part Inventions. This is one of the first ones I learned in D minor. And basically, we have a nice theme, catchy, like a hook. And then Bach is going to take that same melody and he's going to riff on it. And we're going to sequence it, taking the same theme down and down and down. and that's our section 1. So you would basically practice that right hand until you can do it without even thinking, almost to the point of memorizing. And then after you feel really good about the right hand, you might spend a week on that. And then you start working on the left hand. And this is where your left hand is really going to become an artist. You're going to really work on this. I almost developed an addiction to practicing the left hand all by itself. And you'll notice a lot of your endings, beginnings, and cadences of the left hand, it's going to sound exactly like what a cellist would do. That is a total cello statement. Then, once you feel good about both of those hands, that's when you start putting them together. It's been a few years since I've touched this, so I don't know what's going to happen, but anyway, I really have to rely on my memorization as opposed to strictly sight reading when it comes to this. So I know you guys have some gifts when it comes to picking things up quickly and memorizing it. My best advice is to spend a lot of time on one hand all by itself. And I like using technology so I can hear the other hand, even if I'm not the one playing it. And I think you'll like this one. So this one's number 4 in D minor. My other favorite is number 13 in A minor, has a nice theme. Your left hand is a beautiful cello statement in the beginning. And then so I got to practice my hands separately, but that's got a nice theme as well. If you want something in major, the most popular ones are number 1 in C major. You'll probably recognize this theme. And the other most popular one is an F major. It's got a catchy little arpeggio. Anyway, I want you guys to find one of these that you like the best, where the melody speaks to you. Basically, Bach wrote one in every single key because at the time their tuning system was changing. Pianos and harpsichords, in fact, the piano wasn't even invented yet, but the keyboard instruments at the time used mean-tempered tuning, and if you had more than 2 sharps or 2 flats, things sounded out of tune. And I believe that's why we have 3 different kinds of minor keys, so they could choose a different option when something sounded bad. When they switched over to even temper tuning, that's when we could play in every single key and it would still sound in tune. And I am not a tuning specialist, I just know the history behind it. And that's why we have 24 of these, one in every single major and minor key. So I would like for you to pick one of these two-part inventions, and then we can be creative about this. Like, there's some modern pieces. Somebody took the Lady Gaga Bad Romance and made a fugue out of it, and it literally sounds like I could probably tell a funny story like Lady Gaga borrowed her melody from Bach. It's not true, but it uses the same techniques. And I think when you listen to certain music from today, you'll hear some of these techniques. There's a melody or a theme, and then there's a sequence that riffs on that theme. And the main difference for us is that we're going to be using both of our hands independently at the same time, multitasking. All right, I'll send this PDF over. Find one of these that you like the best, pick one hand, and just start working on one hand for the first week. And you don't even have to do the whole thing. You could do just section one. All right, I'll talk to you soon.